Listen up. 8:26 a.m. Erin Schaffpool/Getty Images. Senator Dianne Feinstein, D-California, argued with a group of school of children over her unwillingness to support the Green New Deal on Friday. The Sunrise Movement, an organization which encourages young people to combat climate change, posted a video of the encounter to Facebook. More than a dozen children and adults met with Feinstein to ask her to vote yes on the proposal. Feinstein, however, informed the crowd that the resolution will never pass the Senate and there's no way to pay for the deal. When one girl requested she vote yes anyway, Feinstein told her that she might end up doing that, but it's not a good resolution. Feinstein also clashed with crowd over age and experience. A young woman told Feinstein that she was looking at the faces of the people who will be living these consequences of climate change. "I've been doing this for 30 years, Feinstein replied. "So, maybe people should listen a little bit." Fine. Stein's camp released a statement about the meeting. "I have been and remain committed to doing everything I can to enact real, meaningful change," Feinstein said. She said the discussion was spirited and she heard the children's voices loud and clear. Tim O'Donnell Quotables. 9:29 a.m. Pyongyang press corps/pool/Getty Images. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un fully expects his children to join the family dictatorship business someday, and when that happens, he reportedly does not want them to be burdened with a nuclear arsenal. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo asked Chairman Kim, "Do you really intend to denuclearize?" Former CIA official Andrew Kim said of a meeting between Kim and Pompeo last year. "I'm a father, and I'm a husband, and I have children, and I don't want my children to carry the nuclear weapon in their bag to live through their entire life," Andrew Kim reported. Kim Jong-un replied. The question of the Kim regime's sincerity in its denuclearization pledges for nearly 2 years, and has levied indictments against or negotiated plea deals with 37 people. Still, as NBC News reported Friday, the Justice Department isn't expecting to hear everything from him next week. And when Mueller does drop the details, Barr will still have to read it and write a summary of the confidential report that he'll give to Congress. If you're still itching for details, Mueller's sentencing memorandum in his case against ex-Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort is due Friday at midnight. The report will contain pretty much everything prosecutors want a judge to know before Manafort's March 13 sentencing, CNN notes. Meanwhile, reports are also saying Mueller will issue his report before the sun expands to engulf the planet. Catherine Crouchick Seymour Speed reads, is much debated, especially given reports of secret missile test sites. Pyongyang has explicitly pointed to the fates of Iraq's Saddam Hussein and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi as cautionary tales of voluntary denuclearization leading to forcible, U.S. orchestrated regime change. Bonnie Christian trade war detente? 8:12 a.m. Alex Wong/Getty Images. President Trump met with Chinese Vice Premier Liu He in the White House Friday, afterwards expressing optimism that Washington and Beijing could reach a trade deal soon. "I think we both feel there's a very good chance the deal will happen," Trump said, indicating he may extend a March 1 deadline for new U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports if he feels adequate progress is being made. Liu was similarly positive, calling a deal very likely and pledging China will make its ultimate effort for success. Additional negotiations between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to take place at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. "Ultimately, I think the biggest decisions and some even smaller decisions will be made by President Xi and myself. I think President Xi and I will work out the final points," Trump mused Friday. Perhaps and perhaps not. At Trump's direction, the United States has levied new tariffs ranging from 5 to 25% on hundreds of billions of dollars in Chinese goods over the last 2 years. Nevertheless, China's trade surplus with the U.S. in September reached a record monthly high. Bonnie Christian. Intriguing. 7:53 a.m. Mark Wilson/Getty Images. Special counsel Robert Mueller faced a midnight deadline Friday to file a memo with his recommendations for the sentencing of Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign chair, who was convicted last year of 8 counts of financial fraud. Contrary to expectations, the memo was not released to the public. Friday's filing was sent to Judge Amy Berman Jackson, possibly under seal and with a request for redact some material before public release. If that is the case, Jackson would determine whether and how to publish the document. A previous sentencing memo from Mueller's office recommended Manafort be sentenced to between 19 and 25 years in prison, a penalty that could see him spend the rest of his life behind bars. The sentencing is scheduled for March 13. Bonnie Christian Cohen his own way February 22, 2019 Eduardo Munoz Alvarez / Getty Images The Trump investigations aren't stopping at Russia. President Trump's ex-lawyer Michael Cohen has fully flipped, sharing his accounts of working with Trump with both federal and New York prosecutors. Part of that testimony includes possible irregularities within Trump Organization business dealings, specifically involving insurance claims and the Trump Inaugural Committee, the New York Times reports. Trump's Inaugural Committee has reportedly been under investigation for how it spent its $107 million haul, and whether the committee's biggest donors sought special favors from the incoming Trump administration for their donations. Cohen, meanwhile, has reportedly given Manhattan prosecutors details about dealings between the Trump Organization and Inaugural Committee donor Ahmad Zabari. Zabari donated $900,000 around the time. He also tried to hire Cohen as a consultant and wrote him a substantial check, Cohen has told prosecutors, The Times says. It's unclear if prosecutors even think Cohen's word is credible, but it does suggest they're digging deeper into Trump's personal and business life. Cohen reached a plea deal with special counsel Robert Mueller last year, pledging cooperation with Mueller's probe into potential ties between the Trump campaign and Russian election interference. He recently had his report date for a prison sentence pushed back to May, giving him time to testify before Congress on a still unscheduled day. Read more about what he's reportedly already shared at the New York Times. Catherine Crouch The Big Flop February 22, 2019 Sol Loeb / Getty Images President Trump might be the only person in the White House looking forward to his meeting with Kim Jong-un. When Trump scheduled a second meeting with the North Korean leader for next week, the news apparently wasn't well received by his advisors. They're not just worried that a second meetup would produce not-so-historic results, but also that Trump may mess up a denuclearization deal completely, Politico reports. Trump and Kim met last June in Singapore, signing what the White House called a historic commitment to denuclearization and what others called a nothing burger. Trump has since gone on about the beautiful letters Kim has sent him, and said this second conference in Vietnam will help make North Korea an economic powerhouse. His advisors reportedly don't agree. Among the skeptics is, surprisingly, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Politico says. He's continued to meet with Kim and other North Korean officials, but thinks those same people will steamroll Trump completely, one source says. And even if Trump does hold his own, Pompeo believes the North Koreans are just playing for time and won't hand over anything of substance on denuclearization, foreign policy expert Ian Bremmer tells Politico. National Security Advisor John Bolton, meanwhile, hasn't even pretended he's on board. The State Department declined to comment, and Bolton's spokesman did not respond to a request for comment. Read more at Politico. Catherine Crouch Road to the Oscars February 22, 2019 Carlo Allegri / Getty Images After months of endless confusion and controversy, the 2019 Oscars is nearly here. Here's what to expect from what could be the most bizarre Academy Awards in years. 1. Roma wins Best Picture. Netflix's film is the heavy favorite, although the Academy has never chosen a foreign language Best Picture, so don't count out Green Book. In fact, nearly all of the nominees have a shot yes, even Bohemian Rhapsody. Roma's Alfonso Cuarón should also t. 8 Best Director. 2. Rami Malek, Glenn Close, Mahershala Ali, and Regina King win. The 4 acting prizes look essentially locked up, although there could potentially be an upset win for Rachel Weisz over King. 3. No host, but plenty of presenters. The Academy is proceeding without a host for the first time in 3 decades, and the show is expected to rely on presenters to keep the night moving, including some from outside of Hollywood like Serena Williams and Representative John Lewis, DGA. The last hostless Oscars was an infamous disaster, so is another train wreck in store? 4. Musical performances. The songs are back on after the Academy briefly considered cutting all but 2, although Black Panther's Kendrick Lamar and SZA won't be coming. Still, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga will sing Shallow, and Jennifer Hudson, Bette Midler, and Queen and Adam Lambert will also perform. 5. The Academy put on blast. Almost everyone had a reason to be mad at the Academy's leadership over the past 6 months due to a variety of since-rescinded changes, including a proposal to not give out all the awards live. After the most contentious Oscars rollout ever, don't be surprised to see a rogue presenter Frances McDormand, anyone? Call out the producers and speak against similarly awful tweaks to 2020's show. 6. So much for 3 hours. Remember when the Academy vowed to rein the show into a tight 3 hours? Well, they've since given up, so expect another late night. Brendan Morrow, The Never-Ending Mueller Story, February 22, 2019. Alex Wong/Getty Images reports of the Mueller report may have been greatly exaggerated. On Wednesday, sources told CNN that Attorney General William Barr will announce the completion of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe as early as next week. Now, a senior Justice Department official is telling NBC News that's not quite true. Mueller has been investigating potential ties between the Trump campaign and Russian election interference.